He looks successful. Big house, designer clothes, new car every year. Everyone at work thinks he has it figured out. I am going to show you in the next 10 minutes that he is completely, totally, mathematically broke, and your brain has been tricked into admiring that. There's a type of person that exists in almost every workplace, every neighborhood, every family gathering. They always seem to have the newest phone. They talk about their holidays. They drive something impressive. They wear the right brands. And somewhere in the back of your brain, a voice whispers, that person has their life together. But here is what that voice is not telling you. Looking wealthy and being wealthy are two completely different financial conditions, and the behaviors that produce one are almost the exact opposite of the behaviors that produce the other. Today, we are going to break down 10 specific, observable signs that someone is performing wealth rather than actually building it. These are not opinions. They are patterns backed by consumer finance research, behavioral economics, and Federal Reserve data. And before we start, I want to warn you about something. Some of these signs you might recognize in yourself. That is fine. That is actually the point. Because the first step to building real wealth is understanding what fake wealth looks like. Let us get into it.
Sign number 1, they always have the newest everything. The iPhone just dropped. They have it on day 1. Last year's model goes on Facebook Marketplace. The year before that one, already forgotten. This is called the upgrade cycle, and it is one of the most expensive, invisible habits in modern consumer behavior. According to Bankrate research, the average American spends over $1,000 per year on subscriptions and tech upgrades they did not need. Over a 30-year working career, invested instead at average market returns, that single habit compounds to over $170,000. Real wealth builders are famous for using things longer than anyone expects. Warren Buffett lived in the same house he bought in 1958. His phone was notoriously outdated for years. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same gray t-shirt deliberately to reduce daily decision-making. The person upgrading everything every year is not signaling success. They are signaling that their self-worth is tied to newness, and that is an extraordinarily expensive psychological condition. Sign number 2, they talk about money more than they have. Pay attention to this one carefully because it is subtle. Genuinely wealthy people are statistically less likely to talk about money in social settings. Research from the University of California found that higher net worth individuals were more likely to deflect conversations about wealth and less likely to volunteer financial information. Fake rich people do the opposite. They mention the price of things. They reference what something cost. They talk about deals they got, things they bought, investments they are making. Why? Because talking about money produces the same social validation as actually having it, at zero cost. The brain gets the reward of status without the financial reality. Psychologists call this social signaling through disclosure, and it is almost always a compensation mechanism for financial insecurity rather than an expression of financial confidence. The quietest person in the room about money is often the one with the most of it.
Sign number 3. Their car is the most expensive thing they own. This is perhaps the single most reliable data point on this entire list. According to the Ramsey Solutions National Study of Millionaires, the largest study ever conducted on American millionaires, covering over 10,000 respondents, 73% of millionaires have never purchased a car worth more than $35,000. Ever. Meanwhile, the average new car payment in America hit $735 per month in 2024, according to Experian. That is nearly $9,000 a year on a depreciating asset that loses 20% of its value the moment it leaves the forecourt. A car is the most visible, most socially legible financial signal a person can make, which is exactly why fake rich people overinvest in it. Real wealth builders understand something different. A car gets you from A to B. Every dollar above what it needs to cost to do that job is a dollar that is not compounding in an index fund. The person financing a $65,000 SUV on a $70,000 salary is not demonstrating success. They're demonstrating that they prioritized looking successful over becoming it. Sign number 4. They live paycheck to paycheck despite good income. This one shocks people every time. According to a 2024 Lending Club report, 32% of Americans earning over $100,000 per year live paycheck to paycheck. Nearly 1 in 3 six-figure earners has no financial cushion whatsoever. This phenomenon has a name in behavioral economics. It is called lifestyle inflation, or what researchers call the hedonic treadmill. As income rises, spending rises to match it, sometimes faster. The fake rich person gets a raise and immediately upgrades the apartment, gets a promotion and buys the car, gets a bonus and books the holiday. The psychological mechanism is present bias, the brain's documented tendency to over-reward present spending and dramatically undervalue future security. Every upgrade feels like a logical response to earned success. But Federal Reserve data is unambiguous. Net worth does not correlate reliably with income. It correlates with the gap between income and spending, maintained consistently over time. High income with no gap produces zero wealth. Moderate income with consistent gap produces millions.
Sign number 5. Their social media is a financial performance. Here is a question worth sitting with. Why would you photograph your food before eating it? Why would you post a hotel room before you have even slept in it? Why does the watch need to be visible in every picture? The people posting the most about their lifestyle had less money than the people who were quiet about it, even at identical income levels. Social media has created an economy of performance, where the experience of looking wealthy produces real neurological rewards, likes, comments, validation, at a fraction of the cost of actual wealth. But it creates a dangerous feedback loop. You spend to post. You post to feel validated. The validation requires more spending to maintain. The cycle never produces an asset. Real wealth is profoundly unphotogenic. A maxed-out ISA does not look good on Instagram. A paid-off mortgage does not get engagement. Index funds do not go viral, but they compound, quietly, invisibly, permanently. Sign number 6. They cannot talk about investing. Ask a fake rich person about their investment portfolio. Watch what happens. Either the conversation changes subject immediately, or they mention cryptocurrency they bought during a hype cycle, or they talk about a stock tip a friend gave them, or they describe buying something physical, jewelry, a car, property, as an investment. Real wealth builders speak a different language. They know what an index fund is. They know their expense ratios. They know roughly what their net worth did last year. They have thought about tax-advantaged accounts.
Sign number 7. They are allergic to saying no. The dinner that is slightly too expensive for the budget. The group holiday where everyone splits costs equally, but the costs are not equal for everyone. The round of drinks at the bar. The spontaneous weekend away. Fake rich people say yes to everything, because saying no feels like a public admission of financial limitation, and the social cost of that admission feels worse than the financial cost of the yes. Real wealth builders have a different relationship with the word no. They have internalized that every no to unnecessary spending is a yes to something more important, their future financial security. Sign number 8. Their debt is invisible to them. Credit card balances that roll over every month, but minimum payments are made so it feels managed. A car on finance that is mentally categorized as an asset. Buy now, pay later purchases spread across 3 apps that do not feel like debt because the payments are small. Real wealth builders treat all debt as a single number. They know their total liability. They understand the interest rates. They have a plan to eliminate it. because they understand that every pound or dollar of high-interest debt is actively destroying their net worth in real time. The fake rich person does not look at the total, because looking at the total would break the story. Sign number 9. Their status comes from things, not from options. Fake rich people have the appearance of success, but none of the freedom. They are trapped. The lifestyle requires the income. The income requires the job. The job requires them to show up regardless of what they actually want. Every month is a performance that must be maintained, or the whole structure collapses. The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, "I can do whatever I want today." That freedom does not come from the car. It does not come from the clothes. It comes from a number in an account that you never talk about, that nobody can see, and that grows quietly every month while you sleep. Sign number 10. They are always one emergency away from a crisis. Among people displaying obvious markers of high lifestyle, expensive cars, frequent dining out, visible luxury purchases, the emergency fund situation is often significantly worse because every available dollar is deployed into the performance. What this means practically is terrifying. A medical bill, a job loss, a car breakdown, a boiler replacement. Any single unexpected expense in the range of $1,000 to $5,000 can trigger a cascade: credit card debt, missed payments, financial anxiety that becomes consuming. Real wealth builders treat the emergency fund as sacred, before investments, before upgrades, before holidays, because they understand that financial resilience is not boring. It is the foundation that makes everything else possible. The fake rich person has a beautiful life built on sand. One wave and it is gone.
But understanding where the pull comes from gives you the power to choose differently. Because here is the truth that the data shows repeatedly and clearly. The people who build real, lasting wealth are almost invisible. They drive normal cars. They live in reasonable houses. They do not post their net worth on Instagram because their net worth is not for other people. It is for them, for their options, for their freedom, for the ability to wake up one day and never have to perform anything for anyone ever again. That is what real success looks like, and it looks nothing like what you thought it did.